Well, this silver update is being brought to you by the Russian Army. Go enlist and have a great time and drink all the vodka you can. We want you to be in the Russian Army. So that's so much for the sponsors. I don't know how many rubles I'm going to get for that, but I'm just kidding around. Today I was very surprised how silver really took off like a bat out of hell. The only way I could put it. And, it's retraced a little bit. Quite often what happens, when a movement of something is tremendous during the day, towards like the afternoon, that's when people recognize profits. Either they went long or they went short. So, that's what's going on, a little bit of a retracement, but it's made a major move. It makes me feel smart because I thought it was going to bounce, but I didn't know if it was going to bounce just yet. But, there's actually talk out there about, depends on who you listen to. Well, I'm going to state this right ahead of time, that the election is close. I don't know what the outcome is. I think Romney is going to win, but it's going to be damn close. And if you want to get a conspiracy out there, the one thing that can really cause problems, division in a nation is one of the worst things going. And if you really want a conspiracy, it's not so much who wins, but if you feel like the election got cheated, oh God, that is worrisome. So sometimes, if you had some real shrewd players trying to break up America, I don't know if there is or isn't. It's the most hotly contested election since 1936. As far as closeness and statistics and all this type of stuff. But if you just want to actually cause a lot of internal strife in the nation, just have an election too damn close. Or say Romney wins the popular vote and Obama wins the electoral college. That's controversial, like Bush Gore. Remember that? And but what's making me lean a little bit more towards Romney is that Jim Cramer. This guy amazes me how he can actually be, I guess he's fun to listen to too, but I try to keep this kind of light too, but I'm trying to be accurate too. Jim Cramer's got some piss poor accuracy rating from what I saw, but he's calling for an overall gigantic landslide towards Obama with like over 400 electoral votes going to him. And I'm like thinking to myself, Jim Cramer, if you're calling Obama to be the winner, it's one thing, but it's quite obvious that all the statistics say the election is extremely close. And I don't know where the hell he's coming up with that garbage from. He's a I don't know. He's the Bix Weir of the markets, I guess. Silver's going to $10,000 an ounce. I don't know. I'm just kidding around, but anyway. As far as the Russian army, join up, have a great time, and the hell with Putin. But anyway. If you actually get in there and you're a Russian, I think that what they ought to do as an economic stimulus program, I'm digressing here, is pass out these motorcycles. This is a Ural Russian motorcycle. They got these plans from Germany or something during World War II. They snuck them in through Switzerland, and they're making these things. And actually, they're selling them in the United States, and the Americans love them because they're built pretty strong. And it's got two-wheel drive, and it's got reverse, and it just goes through the snow like crazy. So you can be out there in Russia, shoot your caribou deer, bring it back, fry it up, and get back here in a fort back there with your fellow comrade woman and a bottle of vodka and have a great time. So that's really passing around the wealth. That's what I call passing around the wealth. I don't think that's what's going on over there, but to hell with it. So I'll get done with the digression here. But virtually all economists have said that the spending cuts and stacked tax hikes could ignite a new recession in America. Now, talking spending cuts and tax hikes, that's talking about the mandatory fiscal cliff, the mandatory cuts. And what I'm saying is, this is where I think the dollar is going to be devalued. It's like, if they actually mandate it, you see what I think it's going to happen? You got this ironclad rule that's mandated. It's supposed to happen, right? I'll bet you they break the ironclad rule. I'll bet you they bust the budget. I bet you they bust every rule they said that it's ironclad, it has to be mandated, and they have an exception to the exception to the exception. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to devalue the heck out of the dollar. And that's going to be very bullish for gold especially. It might be for silver too, because the QE is still going to be in place. Now I'm going to say a couple things because I'm going to add a couple other things in here. Maybe you won't hear anywhere else too much, but you know that is not exactly something that is you can put on a chart. But just figure it out. Has Congress ever been able to restrict itself to a budget? Hell no. And if they break the budgets this time, Moody's is going to downgrade the U.S. debt. So that's got to be bullish for gold. So that's where I'm going to see. I think there's going to be this major run up in the metals. And maybe the market's kind of recognizing this already. Now, today, they had problems with Greece. And, you know, it hasn't quite hit yet. But it looks like Greece might not get some new funding. But the euro is going to looking like big troubles again. But, you know, hey, the metals went up. See, that's what's crazy. Sometimes the euro seems to have a great effect on the metals, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, it kind of drives you nuts. But silver's the devil's metal, and they call it the devil's metal for a reason. It drives you nuts, so you got to stay calm. But you know what? My philosophy is right now is wake me up when it gets up to about $60, $65, $70. Then I'm going to sell a little bit of it, not a lot, because I think it'll take a little bit of a nosedive after maybe it hits 70, 75, or something like that, 65, whatever. I'm going to try to guess and do it in little stages. But that'll be my personal bet. And that's what I'm thinking, because there's a lot of stories out there from Max Kaiser. I said this before, but just to repeat it real quick, about the dollar being eventually virtually dead by April 2013. Then there's also the Cliff High predictions that there's going to be a timeline between December 2012 and June 2013. But I don't think it's going to be that fast. It may be 2 or 3 years, but you know, that's a pretty damn short time too. But it ain't going to be in a matter of several months. But we might see, you know, it take a hit on a dollar. Take a hit on a dollar. And you remember that last Lindsey Williams prediction, you know, I don't really totally discount that guy, Lindsey Williams, because that last Lindsey Williams prediction is really based upon Bernanke's 2002 speech. The last thing is devaluing the dollar. The only recourse of action they have to actually keep this, you know, all economists are saying there'll be a new recession in America that America will not be able to take. They're going to have to just keep printing money, getting the money out of thin air, and keep running the government and doing all this other stuff and keep things going. And what that means is the dollar is definitely going to be devalued. So the precious metals are going to go up. So, you know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be totally dead like all these other guys are predicting. So maybe, you know, that's where I'm going to probably sell some to somebody else, maybe at a high. You know, it's an evil way, right? So I don't know. I'm taking a guess. I'm not Karnak the magician, but that'll be my personal plan. Now, speaking of personal plans, my personal plan is a lot into palladium. I know I've made a comment on that in one of my things, and so many people in their thumbs down in it. But you know, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to sell you to palladium. I'm not a bullion dealer in palladium, but it's true. It's like the stuff is not that easy to come across, and if there ever is a short squeeze on palladium, which could very easily happen, and it happened in 2001 when the Russian stockpiles were rumored to be depleted, palladium went to 4 times the price of gold. Could you imagine something that crazy happening? Like, you know, if gold was 5,000 and palladium's like way over gold. It may happen, you know, but it's not something that's going to happen in the short term. But I would recommend, if you don't have like a lot of silver, don't buy palladium just yet. Well, if you do buy palladium, figure it might be a very long term hold. It might be. So that's what I'm thinking too. I think it might be, if we have some kind of problems with Russia or something like that, you know, most of the supply of palladium's coming from there, and they decide like they need it or something, or China needs it, and you know, the West is cut off from that supply. Well, then palladium's going to shoot through the roof like crazy all of a sudden. So it's not going to happen right away, but it might happen down the road sometime. So it's a long-term hold. But, you know, I've been saying this every once in a while, but people don't receive it very well. But I don't know. I guess everybody's got their opinion. But I got to tell you what I'm thinking. There's a lot of fundamentals for this damn metal, big time. So if it goes up that high, you better watch your car, because your catalytic converter is going to disappear, right? So anyway, but again, as far as like, and something else I want to talk about real quickly, my guess is, and it's really a guess, a hunch, I think Romney's going to win, but it's going to be damn close, and it's probably going to be a hotly contested election where if he wins, you probably ain't going to know for a couple weeks. What sucks about this is it's going to cause division in the United States. But, I got to point this out. I didn't vote for either Romney or Obama. Like when somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I think Obama's great," and I'm thinking, "You're an idiot." I think you're screwed up. And then somebody comes to me, "Oh, Romney's got to win because he's a conservative," and they aggravate the crap out of me. I want both those guys to lose, but I know one of them is going to win. That's unfortunate. That's kind of how I think of it. So, but I think with if Obama wins, this is one thing I'm thinking too. The case with Israel attacking Iran would be much higher coming up real quick. That's what I would think, because this has been put out before by other people. I think it was CIA analyst McGovern, I believe his name was. He stated this before, that if they feel like Obama's going to win, they're going to attack Israel. Israel will attack Iran, because Obama's not been very cooperative with Israel in attacking Iran. Now, I'm not playing politics here. I'm trying to figure out what the strategy is going to be financially. Okay, so I think that if Obama wins, and honestly, Netanyahu, if he had his way, even in Israel, Obama wasn't going along with what Netanyahu said, but there was like powerful people in Israel that weren't going along with what Netanyahu said in the Mossad too, about attacking Iran. So it's like if we had, say, a different president in the office, we would have already attacked Iran. There's no doubt about it. It might have happened in 2010 or 2011. So a lot of ways when Lindsey Williams is getting this information, that might not be curveballs at all on purpose. That's just something like it was hanging. The attack on Iran was basically hanging by a thread in the balance. It's like nobody really knew. Nobody really knew. Obama and Brzezinski was basically preventing it from happening. Now, if Romney gets in office, I don't think the attack on Iran would happen right away. It would happen in the spring. But if he gets in office, I almost guarantee you, because he's going to be very compliant with what Netanyahu wants. But I think the outcome is going to happen one way or the other, no matter who gets elected. But I'm leaning towards if Obama gets elected, they might push for it real fast before the winter takes place and it's the bad time to attack. They might just do it right away. That might happen. I don't know. But that's my hunch. Okay, so sometimes I throw my hunches out here, but they're not just totally hunches. That's my reason, rationale for it. It's something that McGovern, CIA analyst McGovern, said. Makes a lot of sense too, but he's not saying it because of he's just saying from his inside sources in Israel that Obama on a second term, once he's in, it's going to be very difficult to get an attack rolling. So maybe they'll do it very early. With Romney, it's going to be very easy for him he'll be very compliant with Netanyahu, and I think the attack will definitely occur sometime in 2013, probably about the time the fiscal cliff is coming about. It'd be a great diversion for all the economic chaos that's to be going on. And if the dollar's going down and oil prices are going up, like I said, that's going to give more life to the dollar. I think that's how it's going to play out. I think Romney's going to win by a very slim margin, and it's going to be a hotly contested election. And so, but like I said, if the metals go up a great deal, I'll be selling some, because I think we got maybe 2 or 3 short years left till the final collapse is coming, or whatever the hell it is. So anyway, the silver update has been brought to you by the Russian Army and some kind of generic Russian vodka that's good for you to drink, and Ural Motorcycles. So, these are my sponsors, Ural Motors, I'm just kidding, and the Russian Army. So anyway, that's my silver update, but just watch for the curveballs, because when the silver really goes up really a lot, silver, as Kid Dynamite calls him, he calls him the Silver Blog Mafia. He calls them that because they'll tell you once it starts going up, if it went up to 100, it's going to go up to 200. If it went up to 200, it's going to go up to 400. And if you say otherwise, you're a bankster, crony, that works for the bad guys and your troll and all this other stuff. But I think there's going to be a limit to how much it's going to go up this next time. And probably pay attention to Endless Mountain because when that Fibonacci seems to work a hell of a lot better than you think, it on a like be a little bit of a longer time frame. And the fib levels are probably somewhere around, I don't know, upper 60s to 75, where the real next resistance point is going to be very hard. And like I said, I'll probably be selling some at 55, some at 60, some at 65, waiting for the pullback. And I'm not going to guess it all perfect, but just some, because I'm holding the majority for the final collapse, whatever the hell that is.